Okay, so at the end of this year, I'm like getting pretty deep into my art right now, which I've really enjoyed. These days, the thing I just crave doing most is turning on an audiobook and drawing. Oh, that's another thing. I'm like an audiobook guy now. I never saw that coming because I love physical print, but yeah, it just pairs so well with drawing. At least doing things this way, that's let me read more than I have in a long time and draw more than I have in a long time, probably just by getting those two activities to overlap. So there you go. I've also started trying to make my art into cards. Figuring out the printing and the cutting around that, it seems like the simplest product, but it has not been. Finding a place that can do quality prints and that either can cut to a perfect 2.5 by 3.5 or that can enable me to do it where the front and back lines up. Not easy. Let me show you some of my favorite pieces from this year. 2023 was like the 50th anniversary of hip hop, so I usually haven't drawn too many rappers even though I love hip hop, but I got a little MF Doom action going here. Also the 50th anniversary of Bruce Lee's passing. Andre 3000 had himself a year, didn't he? This is like younger Andre, right? This isn't current day Andre. Drawing based on some of my personal travels, the Dinagyang Festival earlier this year in the Philippines, and honoring a legend. Judith Heumann passed away earlier this year. If you don't know who she is, watch the documentary Crip Camp. She's a legend disability rights activist. Really just laid the groundwork for a lot of activism that followed. So, fantastic life. Like, this is why I like printing these cards. Like, where else are you gonna find a set where you can get like a disability rights activist, a Filipino tribal dancer, Andre 3000 and Bruce Lee and MF, like, here we go, baby. Some Bryson Stott action. Look, I made this one a foil because anyone who grew up with trading cards knows that the shinies are worth more. All right, how about an end of 2023 check-in? I feel like I haven't hopped in to do that for a little while. And for me, 2023 was a really good year. Just incredible. My main gripe, I think, was just that it went by too fast, especially the latter half, but it was so full of good. Okay, so humor me on this thought experiment. But like, you die, make it to heaven, and you show up and they're like, whoa, you're here a little bit early due to clerical error. We'll let you in eventually, but we gotta tie up some loose ends. We're gonna have you go back to Earth. We can't have you pick things up where you left off, but we can send you back to relive 1 year of your life. You won't really change anything. You'll just be able to relive it, experience it again, and enjoy it. What year do you want? 2023 might be my answer. So at the start, I wanted a lot more space in my life, and I made the tough decision to pull back from some big things I had going on. It's pretty easy for me to suddenly wind up overcommitted, and especially with my kids being as young as they were this year, like I really just wanted more space to spend time with them and to enjoy being with them rather than feeling like I was squeezing everything in. And it's amazing because once you create that space in your life, often it gets filled with the most surprising things. In so many ways, it turned out to be a big breakout year, right? Like on New Year's Day, I got the call that I would be giving a TED Talk. I'm always gonna be doing a TED Talk in June. My work in climate storytelling continues to excite me. I think I'm still trying to find the ideal rhythm between travel and life with kids that works, but I think whatever I did this year was pretty close. We're at least getting a lot better there. Overall, this year was about finding a good, healthy balance between things, which is really hard when you have 3 toddlers in the house. But yeah, we somehow did it. I was able to go on these big, meaningful trips, have colorful adventures, and I also got to take adventures with my kids, like going on a trolley ride, or making pickles, or going to a super low-budget nature museum. Those were fun. So yeah, at this time, a lot of people are picking their word of the year for the year ahead, which has never worked for me. I like to wait till the end of the year and pick the word that reflects on it best. Anyway, for me, I think this year the word is balance, which is kind of funny because last year's word was chaos, and even that in its own way is a balancing act. But yeah, it's been a really good year for finding balance. To be totally honest with you, I've actually never been a big fan of the word balance. Like, people talk about it so romantically, like, oh, I just need to find my balance. And to me, that just sounded boring. Like, for starters, I like extremes. You know what the word balance reminds me of? It's like, pretend you're creating a custom video game character. I don't know if you've ever done this beyond like create a player mode, and you get these like skill points, right? And you can spend them however you want. You know, you can allocate all your skill points to speed and just make a super fast guy, but if he ever gets hit, he's like going down instantly, you know? And so, you know, most players end up just making their characters really strong in some areas, having some other deficits, and that's where the fun comes out. You know, I always thought of balance as being like...
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the most average build in NBA 2K23.
What would happen if you took all those skill points and then just distributed it evenly? Like one for speed, one for attack, one for power, one for defense, and so you end up with like this character who's like perfectly mediocre. So whenever people would say the word balance, I would think that that's kind of what they were doing, but with life, evening everything out to the point of no personality. Now, that is not the sort of balance I think I experienced this year. For me, I think it was more like refusing to just let one single area of your life define you. For example, I made huge career strides and got this big win with getting to do a TED Talk and also getting more invitations to speak on climate change. Just a heady and heavy topic sometimes, but I also didn't want to take myself too seriously, so I signed up for improv classes. There's this really big part of my personality that's just lighthearted and goofy, and I felt like in recent years that part wasn't getting as much playtime. And so improv turned out to be like the part of my week that I looked forward to the most. I got to balance the frenetic energy of being on stage with a more grounded activity of drawing. And I got to get back in my body again, meaning I'm running, and I'm currently at double-digit miles, which feels so good. Okay, so at the end of every year, I order myself some new photo prints, and I just want to give you a rundown of some of my favorite moments from 2023. So we started this year in the Philippines, went there with all 3 kids, which was ambitious, but so worth it. And yeah, there's just an abundance mentality around time there that we don't have over here, and I love it. I'm trying to channel that a bit more and more. Look at this. Look at these happy people. Finally getting to go to Ethiopia was such a win. So rich in culture and history and tradition, and as a storyteller, you can just keep coming back and finding new things to explore. Got to meet these Ethiopian Orthodox priests. Love this shot. You can just see the kindness. Oh, and of course, the coffee, right? And then I got to go to Kolkata. Listen, I've been wanting to go to India for such a long time. Like, how can I say I travel to learn more about the world if I'm missing the country where like 1 in every 7 people live? So yeah, Kolkata was wonderful. Hot, but I met some really kind people. I met some mud wrestlers. The kids got bigger this year. Like, that's kind of a given. That's what they do. But man, I love having these guys in my life. Our twins turned 2 less than a month ago, which I think means we're like out of the baby stage, which is weird to think about because we've had babies in the house since like 2019. That gives us more freedom now, just a bit, but it's still gonna take some getting used to. And yeah, I won't miss the restrictions of the baby phase, but I will miss them as babies. They were awesome babies. With Reese being a bit bigger, I got to take him on a special one-on-one trip. I try and do one-on-one special time with all my kids. Reese and I went to Canada, and man, Alice Lake up in Squamish is just gorgeous. Look at that. I don't even know which side is up because of that reflection. There we go. Doing one-on-one adventures with my kids is like my favorite. I think the best one this year might have been the time, though, I took Juniper to a cat cafe. That girl loves cats, and she just ate it up. Went to some great weddings this year. His friends got married. And I got to do some great speaking gigs this year. Like, on one end of the spectrum, I got to give a TED Talk, and that was pretty epic. On the other end, I got to do a stand-up comedy and storytelling event. I did the storytelling. I don't really do stand-up, but yeah, I love that I got to bring my whole self to various stages. So I'm really glad I got back into improv this year, and check it out. This is my team. We're metal people, and So a really cool thing that happened in 2023 was I met a lot of new people, made a lot of new friends. When I was younger, I would think that, the mark of a good year was a year where I met a lot of new people and made a lot of new friends. And you know what? I don't think my younger self was wrong about that. I want to build on that in 2024 for sure. It has been years since I've made this many new friends in a more condensed amount of time, especially outside of my work or my wife's circles, and I am loving it. Being part of the improv and creative community in town here has really helped with that. I really don't want to grow into one of those guys in their 60s who just has no friends. And I feel like I see that a lot, and I feel like key to avoiding that is not being a guy in my 30s who just stops making friends. That said, it is a really tough stretch in my life, I think in a lot of people's lives, to be building community, having kids, young kids, and peers who are in a similar position. Like, everyone's schedule is packed, and just getting out requires so much planning and effort. But having people around you is important. It's one of the biggest predictors of happiness. So at a glance, 2024 is already looking pretty fun. I had some trips, some adventures planned for the end of this year that got bumped into next year. I'm excited about them because a lot of them are things that have been on my radar for some time. I'm also a little bit nervous about how front-loaded my year is looking, but I think that's my chance to practice just taking things one thing at a time. I love the creative work I've been doing. I've got more stories I'm excited to tell, and I feel like I've gotten more familiar with my creative voice. I have hopes to run a marathon, which I am currently training for. It was my first time back running since having the twins and going to 3 kids, and so it was a steeper climb to get back into shape for sure. I'm really thankful for my health, and I'm trying not to take that for granted. So one big way next year could probably be a lot better is financially. It's like, this is probably true from almost everyone in the world right now, but every time I go to the grocery store, I'm like, oof, get nostalgic for those 2019 prices, I might say yes to more projects to try and help with that, we'll see. One thing that is going to help a lot is in the fall, Reese graduates from his daycare, which I am really looking forward to not paying 3 tuitions. It's been great having that daycare center in our lives, but 3 tuitions, man. Overall, though, I have it good. Even the challenges and the pain points in my life are all related to just these huge blessings I have.
Right again, you're fine again, you caught me bluffing. You're right again, you're right again.